Guys, I'm sorry, my phone went off. I thought I had it charged and I didn't. So I'm back. As you can see, the bell peppers and onions and red peppers and meat have all um, completely cooked. I'm just double checking here. Everything looks good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the back aisle, and I'm going to put the pot that has the chicken broth in it on this one, because the other aisle doesn't get as hot because it's more of a warmer aisle. And then we'll go ahead and start cutting up the cheese. Here you can see I've taken a little bit more than half of the block of cheese, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start to dice it up. This will make it easier for melting when you put it in your pot of broth. Okay, the cheese is diced up, as you can see, and so now we're going to go ahead and transfer it into our broth. All right, as you can see, the broth has come to a boil. It's gotten hot, so I'm going to start adding the cheese. Okay, and I have my heat on number 5, because I want this cheese to go ahead and start to melt down. I'm going to go get my spatula, because you have to constantly stir so that it doesn't stick to the bottom of your pan. Although it's non-stick, sometimes queso will still stick to your pan. All right, give me just a moment. Okay, as you can see, the cheese is starting to melt. And I'm using my spatula to stir it consistently. You don't have to add any more seasonings to this. Just let it do what it does. Let it melt and let it come together. You just want to just keep an eye on it and keep stirring it. If you're gonna cook it on the same type of heat I am cooking on. If you have it down a little bit lower, you don't have to stir it as frequently, but it's best to keep an eye on it. Okay, so I'm gonna come back when it's all melted and let you see how it looks, and I'll give you the, let you see how, how thick the consistency is the word I'm looking for. Okay, I'm back. It's almost completely melted, not quite yet, but I want to let you see the consistency that it's at right now. So I'm just going to put a little bit on my spatula and let it run off. It seems like it's real runny, and that's okay, because what I'm going to do next is add the ground beef. If your ground beef has a lot of oil and you need to drain it, please go ahead and do so. Mine doesn't really get too much oil, doesn't come from the meat that I use. So I'm just going to pour it right in. And then after that, I'm going to open the beans and I'm going to pour them in as well, the black beans. Okay, so now I've added my ground beef. As you can see, at this point the cheese is almost completely melted. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my can of black beans, the entire can. Oh yes, and you want to make sure you drain the black beans. At this point, before you add the beans, you can go ahead and turn your heat down to like number 2, so that your cheese doesn't start to boil over. And if you notice that it does, you'll want to turn it all the way down. Okay, I'm back, and now I'm going to add my 1 can of drained beans, black beans. It's the whole can, almost. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and stir that in. Looks delicious, doesn't it? Yum, yum. Okay, and the consistency for the dip, still kind of runny a little bit. So you have two choices at this point. You can leave it like it is, and what you're going to do basically is let it stay on the lowest heat that you have and cook for a little bit longer. Once you turn it off, the cheese will actually start to thicken and it'll be perfect. But if you want it thicker, you can go ahead and add some more cheese. So for me personally, because you see that it's starting to thick up, I'm going to go ahead and add a half of a block of cheese more. Alright, so here I am adding the extra cheese, and I'm going to go ahead and let that melt. The other option I forgot to mention is some people like to add cornstarch. You can add cornstarch to thicken it if you want. I don't think you necessarily have to do that. You can just add more cheese. And then also what you can do also is not pour half of the 32 ounce. You can pour a little less than half. And then gradually add the liquid as you make your dip. If you see that, you know, it's not as loose as you want it, instead of letting it be too loose and then you have to add more cheese. So whatever your preference is. So now I'm going to let this cheese melt, and while that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and start prepping my chips. Alright, so to prep my chips, all I'm going to do is plug up my, it's a Bella air fryer. I'm going to put it on 375, well 350, and I'm going to set it for like 5 minutes, and I'm going to put the chips in the tray. And I like my chips warm, so I'm going to let the chips get warm. I'm going to plate it up and let you see how it looks. Alright, so here are the chips in the air fryer, and now I'm going to go ahead and put those in the air fryer for 5 minutes. And you don't have to do 5 minutes. You can actually turn the temperature to 300 on your air fryer, as I have done here. 300, and the knob is set for, if you can see it, 5 minutes. That way they don't burn. And as you can see, the air fryer has started. Now I'm going to go ahead and get my plate ready. Alright, I'm checking back on the dip, and as you can see, the cheese has almost melted. And here's the new consistency. Let's see if I can get a little side angle. See how it's thick. It's not too thick, just enough. Okay, chips are ready at about 3 minutes. You'll start to smell them. You'll go ahead and pull that out. And let's get this plated up. Okay, here we are, the finished product. So I have chopped up some, I will cut up some avocado and put that in the dip as well, because once you start eating it, like I'll take a fork and I'll kind of break it up and mix it in there, and it makes it really creamy. It's so delicious. Um, I'll sprinkle just a little salt on top of that before I do it. And I have some fresh cilantro that I'm going to chop up and I'm going to put on top as well. And that just gives a little bit more flavor to the dip. So this is it, guys. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, like, and share. And share this with your friends. Subscribe to my channel. If you have any feedback, I am open to positive feedback. Just help my channel grow. And if you are a YouTuber in any aspect, I'll do the same. All right. Be blessed.